go. First off, let me tell you, I have worked, I spent a little over a year writing a book. And been having a hard time getting anybody who wants to publish it. I don't have the cash to self-publish. So you're going to get a little free preview of my book today. And we'll see if we can get this thing, get enough followers, get enough people watching Hoy Story on air to get to the point where, hey, maybe a publisher will be willing to publish it because you people will be willing to buy it. So we're going to move on to the next thing here. We've got Peter Welch of Vermont, Senator. What hath Obamacare wrought?
Owe you an answer on why it is I'm standing here today asking to extend something that was temporary. And here's the reason. We did fail to bring down the cost of health care.
Color me shocked. Here I am, shocked. Not really.
Owe you an answer.
Here is from my book, not the final cover, but this is what it's going to be called, hopefully. Fact-checking frauds, how fact-checkers distract, deceive, and distort our politics. In the wake of Obamacare, healthcare premiums didn't go down, did they go up? A year after PolitiFact came to the sad conclusion that they'd been hoodwinked and rated President Obama's promise that insurance premiums would be reduced by $2,500 a year as broken, they were presented with yet another attack on Obamacare that they felt the need to defend. Wisconsin GOP Senator Ron Johnson, in a Fox News radio interview on Kilmeade and Friends, took aim at that broken promise and its aftermath. An average plan for a family didn't go down by $2,500 per year. It's going up by about $2,500 per year, Johnson complained to host Brian Kilmeade. In swoops PolitiFact to tell you to ignore your lying eyes and trust them. So Johnson was saying that premiums are $2,500 more in 2013 than when Obamacare became law in 2010, and Lincoln, they don't even pay copy editors enough, because I guarantee you, if you go to the link for this, the error is still there. The law to the increase. Let's give the senator's claim a fine-tooth examination. PolitiFact's Tom Kirshner begins by citing the above Obameter ruling of promise broken. He never points out that ruling validates the first half of Johnson's claim, but simply moves on. After contacting Johnson's office to determine where he got the numbers he used to calculate that $2,500 premium increase from 2010 to 2013, they were directed to figures from the Kaiser Family Foundation, a left-leaning health policy think tank. In 2010, the average premium for an employer-sponsored family health care plan was $13,770. In 2013, it was $16,351. The difference, $2,581. So, true? No. Half true. Why? Well, let PolitiFact consult with a bunch of experts to take guesses at why Obamacare didn't deliver the promised savings. The Kaiser figures show a premium increase of 9% in 2011, about a year after the health reform law was adopted. But one could argue the longer the law has been in effect, the lower the premium increases have been, under 5% in 2012, under 4% in 2013. Well, yes, but we'd been promised they would go down, not that they'd continue to increase, but at a slower rate. Experts say, however, that a number of factors, including the recession and the sluggish economic recovery, affect premiums. Moreover, there is no consensus that enough time has passed to determine what effect the Affordable Care Act, much of which doesn't even take effect until 2014, has had on premiums, particularly for employer-sponsored plans. I'm going to pause right here with an aside. They've still continued to this day to skyrocket. I'm sure that everyone knows this. That's part of the reason why we've got this government shutdown right now, because the Democrats, all on their own with no Republican support, passed subsidies for people earning up to 400% of the poverty level. And those subsidies if those subsidies go away, boom, there's going to be a big increase again in premiums. Well, that increase is already there. It's just the government's been shuttling money directly to the health insurance companies. So this is continued. It's not like it went down from 9% to 5% to 4% to 3%, 2% to 1%. It's gone back up. And they've been hiding it. Democrats have been hiding it with these subsidies. And they were supposed to be COVID subsidies because COVID was a bad thing, and a pandemic like COVID is a good reason to go into deficit spending. The problem is everything's a good reason to go into deficit spending, and it continues. Back to my wonderful book. Poor Obama, just a victim of circumstance. The President's Council on Economic Advisors, it should be of, but PolitiFact, copy editors, yeah. In a November 2013 report, argues there is a connection between the law and a slowdown in healthcare costs overall. But the report also notes the causes of the slowdown are not yet fully understood. That same Council of Economic Advisors that assured the public that the stimulus, Obama's stimulus, and right after he got elected in 2013, would keep unemployment below 8%, those guys, again, it went up to over 10%. So how will PolitiFact justify their half-true rating after acknowledging that both that the premiums for the typical family didn't drop by $2,500 and instead grew by $2,500? Back to PolitiFact. Johnson said that under Obama's health care law, the premium for an average plan for a family didn't go down by $2,500 per year. It's gone up by about $2,500 per year. Johnson is correct that by 2013, 3 years after the Affordable Care Act became law, the total average premium for employer-provided family insurance had risen by $2,500 per year. But experts say there is little or no evidence that Obamacare is responsible. Yeah, experts, huh? How convenient. The ruling completely ignores the first half of Johnson's statement and bases everything on whether Obamacare is to blame for the increase. Of course, if you added the completely true first half of Johnson's statement with PolitiFact's preferred half true, for the second half you'd get mostly true. Unfortunately, there is no additive property of fact-checking, so it doesn't work that way. There's more of this in the book. PolitiFact is the main target, just mainly because they're the biggest fact-checker, but all of the fact-checkers are bad. All of the fact-checkers bring their biases to their analysis, bring the bubble, the liberal bubble, left-wing bubble that's present in most newsrooms to their analysis, and this is the kind of garbage you get. Ron Johnson's statement is 100% true. He's got the facts to back it up. Oh, we shouldn't blame Obamacare for it, even though that's the law of the land, which you guys got passed on strictly party line votes without any Republican input. Sorry, not buying it. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. If you like what you saw here, please like, subscribe, watch another video. Please follow me on Twitter @HoyStory. Please go to my Facebook page, hoystory.com, the words dot and com on Facebook. And thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.